Okay friends, to get started on this job, first we're going to get underneath the driver's side dash. After that, we're going to remove this panel. Go ahead and grab onto that panel and carefully remove it. Okay, so now that the shield's out of the way, let's continue on to pulling down on our carpet. We want to be very careful not to damage it. I'm going to slide it out from behind this panel right here. Go ahead and carefully pull this down. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and push down on this e-brake lever so I have a little bit of access to the cable. Let's go ahead and cut that. Now let's go ahead and grab the rest of our cable out of there. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is go ahead and remove the cable from the ratcheting assembly itself. To do that, you can either use a tool that looks like this. That'll slip right over and it's going to push down on all the locking ears. If for some reason you don't have this tool, you can continue on with a pick, a small screwdriver, whatever you've got. But essentially we're just going to either break off these ears or peen them down. For me personally, I'm just going to go ahead and break them off. There we go. I got the whole locking mechanism right off of there. Now let's go ahead and grab onto that cable and we'll draw it right out of the e-brake mechanism. Perfect. Now let's get under the truck. Now underneath the driver's side of the truck, we're going to go ahead and follow that e-brake cable until it connects on to the intermediate cable. Essentially on this clip right here, you're going to want to turn this around so we can see the backside. Now looking at the backside, you can see where there's a little locking tab, and essentially that's going to make it so this cable will not be able to pull out of here. Well, obviously we need it to, so let's go ahead and pull on that locking tab and just pry it away. Now the next thing I'm going to do is try to hold onto this, and I'm going to use something to try to pry in between. Essentially we just kind of want to separate this enough to draw this cable out of here. Once you've done that, continue on by trying to squeeze this out of here and then take it away. Now we're going to move along to this area here. I'm sure you can imagine what we have to do. Go ahead and pry those tabs off and then remove the cable from its bracket. Now I'm just going to go ahead and grab this cable, slide it out from behind the frame here, and then bring it straight down. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and get back up inside the cab of the truck and remove the cable from the top. Now continuing with our pick, we're going to get right down into the area where the actual cable is going to go through the floorboard of the truck. You're going to see that there's a rubber grommet. Go ahead and grab onto that and then rip it up and out of here. There we go. Go ahead and grab the cable and remove it. There it is, friends. Okay, friends, now it's time for our install. The one thing we want to pay attention to on this is the rubber grommet. You want to make sure that you have the flat area facing up towards the cabin and the little beveled area facing down towards the outside of the truck. Let's go ahead and take that, put it down and through the hole. We want to obviously be careful not to damage it in any way, so don't scuff up your sheathing. We'll go ahead and push this down and in there. Now the next thing we need to do is continue on with something flat like this flat-headed screwdriver. I'm going to continue trying to push this little rubber grommet down and into the floor, essentially so this top area is nice and level with the floor. Once you have that into the floor, let's continue on by putting this up and into the ratcheting unit here. We'll go ahead and lock it in. Once you're sure that you have that locked in, let's continue on by putting our cable on here. I'm just going to bring this right up, line it up, and push it in. Make sure that you release the e-brake pedal, so that way there it's in its lowest position like this. Let's get under the truck. Now back underneath the truck, let's continue on by putting that cable back and up and over this area of the frame. And then of course we'll put the cable through here and lock it in. Now I'm just going to carefully grab onto my e-brake cable here. And then we'll come over here and grab onto this as well with some locking pliers. All right, with that latched on, now let's go ahead and turn this over. We're going to make sure that we push this locking tab back so it's ready to lock this in once we get it together. Grab the two cables and put them together. Okay, make sure they're locked in. Remove your clamps. If for some reason you can't get enough tug on your e-brake cables, just go ahead and turn this over and loosen this nut. Once, of course, you get your cables back together, come back over here and readjust your emergency brake. All right, back inside the passenger compartment, let's continue by getting our carpet back on here, and then, of course, we'll put up our plate. Let's make sure we put our carpet behind this kick panel here. I'm just going to use my pick and carefully slide it behind there. You want to make sure that there's no way that this can come falling down because you don't want it to get stuck behind your brake pedal or the accelerator. Now it's time to go ahead and get our shield back up on here. We want to make sure that we reconnect this in right here. Listen for a click, give it a nice tug. We also have our emissions port here. Go ahead and slide it right through this area, and then we'll grab it from underneath, put in our mounting screws. Now we're going to go ahead and put this up. If you look at this area right down along here, you can see that it has an area for a stud to go through. Looking underneath the dash, you can also see a stud. Let's go ahead and line those two up. I'm just going to slide the stud right through the little piton area. We'll line this up and put in all of our mounting bolts. Let's go ahead and snug these up. Okay, so we've got it all put back together. Now the next thing we want to do obviously is test our emergency brake. Go ahead and push down on the pedal and make sure that it doesn't necessarily go all the way to the floor before it stops the vehicle. Essentially halfway down is perfect. This feels great. Let's go ahead and release that and then take it for a road test.